Alrighty, so the next couple minutes are going to serve as the quick and dirty for this little dude right here. This is the Mini Recon 1 by Cold Steel. This knife absolutely took me by surprise. If you want to know right up front without wasting any more time, do I like it? Do I recommend it? Do I love it? Yes, yes, yes. This is a sweet little freaking knife. If you want something that is sub 3 inches of available cutting edge, it comes with its own sharpening choil. It is relatively robust. It's on the shorter side. It's stocky. It's stubby. It's robust. It's stout. Whatever all the words you could think of for a little tank of a lightweight knife. For the scale material, you have FRN that is reinforced with steel liners in there. They do have some weight relieving. I think they could have done a little bit more or done without the steel liners to begin with. You do have, a little backspacer here, the tried and true triad lock, of course. This thing has broken in beautifully. I have used this and carried it quite a bit, and I've also sharpened it twice, and as you can see, still looks freaking great. I take care of my knives. I clean them, so that's why this doesn't look like a hot freaking mess. I did drop this. This thing skid around on the floor a little bit, not intentionally. It was on accident, and not because this thing is too slippery or anything like that. It's just I got butterfingers sometimes, but the scales definitely did hold up to that kind of use. Ergonomic wise, I think it was a little odd to get used to because I don't really have anything in my collection that feels quite like this. But for long term in hand, no gloves use, this is definitely a little treat right here. If I didn't mention already, OS 10A blade material with a beautiful crystal semi polished like tumbling that they do from Cold Steel. I love it. It's really just a visual preference of mine. I really wish that they would make more of this just in different colors, potentially with different blade materials. I think it would be really cool. Another thing too, because this is relatively thin, lightweight, this is a smaller knife, it's meant for smaller tasks. I think that this would absolutely benefit from a very shallow hollow. Cold Steel has proven that they are capable of doing shallow hollows on other larger knives. I can't see why it cannot be applied to something like this. You could also flip the clip around to the other side, which is cool for lefties. It is not deep carry. You'll have like that much of the knife sticking out. And just for a quick little reference, I have large to extra large size hands, and this is how it fits in my hand. My hand damn near swallows up the whole thing, but it is actually very comfortable. And to disengage, you just press on that lock there and it lands right there, so it's not going to ding up your fingers. And once this thing breaks in, it is very fun and fidgety. I get it, this is a cutting tool, it's not supposed to be fun and fidgety, but the fact that it's able to accomplish that while still maintaining strength and stability and all those good qualities for sub $50, this is one hell of a buy. So you're more than welcome to watch the rest of the video. I go into all the little details and stuff like that, but hopefully this little short helps anybody out there that's just want to get the quick and dirty on the Mini Recon 1 by Cold Steel. Hello everybody, hope you're having a wonderful day. Today I would like to share with you all my final thoughts on the Mini Recon 1. So just to start, I think this is a pretty sweet freaking buy. A lot of cool little details that I absolutely enjoy. Yes, I did actually use this knife. This has actually seen 2 sharpenings. The initial reprofile down to about 17 or 16 degrees, as well as a refresh sharpening job just to get it back to, nice and aggressive and biting. Talking about the blade material here, it's OS 10A, produced in Taiwan. Beautiful finish on the blade that really just is a personal preference. You have the wonderful triad lock for the locking mechanism, which is obviously it needs no introduction. The handle material itself, it's small here and opens up pretty wide back over here. It is FRN that has steel liners for internal reinforcement. You can flip over the clip, which is really nice. T6 galore all over this thing, but it's just kind of what Cold Steel does. So there's not a whole lot that I could really, like bitch about there. Essentially, that's what they do. I got this thing for about 36 bucks and some cents. Wow, did I get a pretty good deal. In my opinion, I think this is more than enough knife and material for 36 bucks. But even without the super sale for Amazon Prime Day, whatever, I still think it's a pretty sweet buy at its regular retail cost, still being under that $50 price point. We can go ahead and take the weight on it. 3.4. So pretty good for what it is, because it is so small. It does feel a little bit dense, but it is nice and wide enough in hand. It's supposed to be a smaller, more compact design. Let's do some size comparisons real quick. Like I said, compact, small, sub 3 inches of usable blade length. So we'll start with the smaller end of the size comparison size knives. Here is my wonderful Native 5 lightweight by Spyderco. As you can see, it's pretty close, but it's actually just a hair bit shorter from tip to tail. Migron Vaker, definitely a good one. Super ultra lightweight. This thing's only about like 2.5 ounces or something like that. CJRB Pyrite Light. So a lot of people know that this is kind of the middle range now, because there is the, I suppose, the large or the XL version. And they also have a mini. The mini obviously didn't do too well in sales, but this is kind of the sweet spot for a lot of people. Even then, it is still a little bit lengthier, but when it comes to the amount of usable blade length, it is actually about the same. I got two more size comparisons for you guys. One of my favorites here is the Predator by CMB Made Knives. Obviously, you know, pretty sweet freaking knife, good for the price. The Vision FG by Civivi. So still a good bit lengthier. Now, there are some things about this that I think could be improved upon. A lot of my testing, my in-house testing that I do here at home, it's just general purpose stuff. A couple little things in the kitchen. The ergonomic testing that I do in the garage is when my wife goes grocery shopping. She goes to like big box stores or whatever. She tends to grab a couple heavy duty boxes so that I can tear down and break down utilizing knives, and that's what I do for testing. So maybe it's not the most consistent scientific wise of testing, but really I'm just seeing how something like this is actually going to perform under real world circumstances. Breaking down cardboard, opening up a couple packages here and there. But what I do want to mention about the edge here is, from the factory, this was one of the most impressive edges I have experienced, and I have proof of that here on the channel. During my unboxing video, I did a little bit of testing through just standard thickness printer paper. Now I know it's not anything super impressive, but the printer paper does tell a lot to somebody that knows how to listen, and hearing how material is separated, how it tears, if it's high pitch, low pitch, how smooth it is, how jagged or how clean the edge is left, really shows the detail and the time, the skill, craftsmanship, all that good stuff. Really shows all that went into the factory edge, and this was super impressive. So I think it's really awesome that whoever is working on this from the Taiwan plant, and again, this is my one and only experience of this particular model, but I would hope that the rest of them come with as close to or just as good as the edge that I received from the factory, because wow, it was really nice. I even have a supervisor at work who is a huge cold steel fan. He tends to carry a lot of large knives, so when I showed him this thing, he kind of chuckled, but when he felt the edge, he was just like, that's what a cold steel edge should feel like. And he was very impressed that for something that is as inexpensive as this is, they still put a lot of effort into actually sharpening it. So within the pivot, if it's not already obvious, the typical build it's a combination of Teflon and phosphor bronze washers. They come flipped around, so I just flip them the other way, so where the phosphor bronze is actually contacting the blade, and the Teflon sleeve is kind of touching on the inner steel liner, or what would be the scale material. I think it results in a much smoother drop and action, and I feel like the model and design actually breaks in a little bit smoother in a shorter period of time. So at this point, we can talk about ergonomics and some of the other little details that I like. Starting with the grip. When I first received this thing, I was like, it's a little odd in hand, It is, mainly because there are a lot of other things in my collection that don't feel like this at all. The way that this thing is that like it's pretty straight here, and obviously because of the drop point blade shape, it's nice and in line with the pivot, and easy for utility scoring tasks and stuff. But the handle takes this huge dramatic, and it doesn't look that dramatic, but it feels dramatic in hand, where it just takes this huge just cant and curve and dip over, and it just I don't know, maybe it's called like pistol grip or something. It just feels like, I don't care to promote violence or using knives for self-defense, but it is what it is. And that's one of the things that makes me think about this thing, is that it's just in that position that gets your hand in the shape, and it locks into place in the right area. That's just good for piercing motion. And one of the interesting things too is that it looks very, very subtle, but as it kind of ramps up, so it kind of swoops up this way, and it kind of flares out towards right before the blade. So another little feature that I want to mention in the handle is there's this little, I don't even know what to call it. You don't really feel it much. It's so weird. Like if I wanted to really like choke up on this thing, and if I didn't mention already, I wear large to extra large size gloves, but I do have slim fingers, so I don't typically run into any sort of ergonomic restraints or issues. I can choke up on this. It is just a little sketchy because the edge is right there. Now there is a already built in from the factory sharpening tool. No, I did not put that in myself. I'm very happy that they did that, and one of the things that I'm even happier about is I could actually make that sharpening tool bigger. So I'll get my little tools real quick just to show you guys. So after removing 500,000 T6 screws, you can finally get into the knife. We have this skeletonized steel liner here. Just want to show this off real quick. There's a little bit of oil and residue on it, but here's the Teflon stuck to there, and the phosphor bronze is actually stuck to the blade itself. One of the things that I wanted to mention that I think are worth showing off is that, look at this. So when you disengage the triad lock, this comes around and around. Look at where the stop pin is. Check that out. Stop pin is right freaking there. First is over here. And I think that's really cool, because all that means is that I could really, really maximize the life of this knife. This thing is meant to go for a long time, so I can sharpen this thing away. And you know what, once the sharpening tool starts getting chewed up, all I can do is just take a Dremel and just chew up more of it, and then just start continuously sharpening from there. Of course at that point it's gonna get even thicker and thicker behind the edge, but at that point, when it gets a little too thick for your own preference for a small compact knife, just get a new one. So which kind of leads me to, I guess, wrapping this whole thing up. I think that this is a really sweet knife, but it has an odd mix of features. You have a really robust and stout little blade here on what is a ultra budget knife, in my opinion, sub $50, and but the blade material isn't something that's meant for long-term use. Like it's not going to be a super long-lasting edge retention wise. It's going to be pretty stable behind the edge, but the geometry as it is what really, I guess, enhances that. I think, this is just me, that something like this would truly absolutely benefit from a very shallow hollow grind. I think that would be awesome. Cold Steel has proven time and time again that they can do hollow grinds, and they currently still do it on some of their really popular knives. Like take the Code 4 for example. I have experienced one, but I've never owned one, mainly because the aluminum scales. That's really my only thing that I have against not owning or having spent the money on a Code 4 in recent time. But there's a hollow grind on that, and I'm sure that thing performs wonderfully for what it is. And it's still, the Code 4 is still around $100 or a little bit less. I've seen it for as low as like 70 something bucks on like super sale on certain sites or Amazon Prime Day, whatever you want to call it. Just finishing up getting this thing back together. I don't want to over tighten it because obviously this is a washer based pivot system, so even the body hardware, you know, has a role to play in the overall smoothness. And yeah, there you could see that I've definitely overdone it, so now I gotta back it out a little bit, you know, side to side, play with it, see if I feel anything, and just kind of help it, you know, get back to where it was. And that's kind of about where it was. Let's see, hold on. Yeah, that's about where it was. Now, the side-to-side stability is very impressive on this, and I really do think it is because of those steel liners. So it's kind of a give and take thing. I like that the steel liners add a good bit of side-to-side stability, allowing this thing to be damn near perfectly centered for an ultra-budget cold steel knife. You know, this is gonna break in, you know, better and better the longer I use it. Take it apart and clean it. You know, obviously a well-maintained tool is going to, you know, reward you with hopefully years of genuine use and good time. But going back to the whole blade material thing, I think that something like this really would benefit from a very shallow hollow grind, just to help with keeping the life of this edge a little bit longer, getting more sliciness out of it. As it is, this is a tough little sucker. It really is. But I don't think that its overall stature is meant for harder use tasks. So again, like I mentioned earlier, it's an odd mix of design choices. Really robust blade, and then lightweight, you know, thinner scales. Yes, they are rounded off in the right places, and this doesn't really have any ergonomic hotspots in my opinion. But once this blade dulls out, you really do feel like you're just jamming a wedge between whatever you're cutting. So that's just something to keep in mind. But that is, I mean, that is just about it. There's not much more I could really say. There's not a lot of negative going on here. There's not a whole lot else. I think it'd be pretty sweet to see a switch in material from FRN to G10. I think that they are more than capable of applying G10 to this. Sure, the weight will go up, sure, the price should go up a little bit, within reason of course, but I hope that they continue making this model. I hope that at one day GSM, or the company that took over Cold Steel, I hope that they're able to kind of revamp this thing and maybe do something premium with it. I think it's super cool. If they did this in titanium, guarantee I am selling whatever I can to buy one immediately, because I think that this would be a awesome offering if they gave it the premium treatment. And seeing what Cold Steel can currently do for the premium stuff, I'm very excited to see what other things they have in store for us. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and leave a like down below. If you are subscribed already, thank you so much. I appreciate all your support and your patience, of course. If you are not subscribed, please consider subscribing, because I put more videos and content coming your guys' way. With that being said, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.